is up, everybody? Coming to you from the very beginnings of November. Some November rain, rightfully so today. Very hot and cold week. Week began very good. Ended not so great. The good, the bad first. Well, let's start with the good. Monday Night Football. Our Rams, your Rams, my Rams defeated the Chicago Bears. Rather resoundingly. I believe the final clip was 24-10. What stood out to me about this game predominantly was defense. Our defense played amazing. We outbeared the Bears. I believe we had a forced sack. Aaron Donald was able to get his first on Nick Foles in his career. 24-10 was the final score. The Bears didn't actually score a touchdown on offense. Their lone touchdown came on defense. So really, our offense held them to 3 points. Jared Goff was serviceable, 23 for 33 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darrell Henderson continues to prove that he's, establishing himself perhaps as our go-to back. 15 carries, 63 yards. I would like to see a bit more consistency in our running game, perhaps a bit more commitment to one person or the other. Josh Reynolds was our leading receiver last week, 52 yards, 1 touchdown reception. Our defense was prime time, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. Leonard Floyd, former Bear, edge rusher from Georgia, that's really started to come into his own on the Rams. Jalen Ramsey got his first interception of the season. But we ended up winning. Just a very strong defensive effort from us, 24-10. Now fast forward to Sunday. Last Sunday, if you were going to say, Quinn, the Rams play 2 games the next 7 days, they're going to win one and lose one. Which one do you think they'll win? Which one do you think they'll lose? I would have thought they would have lost to Chicago, beat Miami. But, in fact, what happened was they beat Chicago, lost to Miami. So we went from 4-2 to 5-2 to now 5-3. And third in the division. Yeah, this game against Miami, man, it was a bummer. To be 100% honest with you, I didn't watch all of it just because it was bumming me out so bad. Darrell Henderson went down with an injury to the thigh, so his production was limited. He had 8 carries for 47 yards. He was averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. But I'm not even sure what happened in this loss, to be honest with you, because our first drive, on Tua's first pass attempt, Tua Tagovailoa, it was a strip sack by Aaron Donald, so it gave us a short field position. We turn around, score a touchdown. Okay, things look great. For there on out, the Dolphins were pitching a shutout. We didn't score again to the 4th quarter. And I mean, we adjusted defensively. We didn't allow the Dolphins to score past a single touchdown. But on back-to-back drives, they had a defensive touchdown and a fucking punt return for a touchdown. So Miami was rolling. The sun was smiling on Miami today, man. Tua Tagovailoa, 12 for 22, 93 total yards, 1 touchdown. Very serviceable debut, I guess you could say. Jared Goff had one of the worst games I've ever seen him compete in. 35 for 61, 355 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions were ducks and absolute poor decisions. I mean, besides that, there's not much to say. Like, our defense played well. I would have liked to seen him get more pressure on the quarterback, though. That's a credit to Miami's offensive line. But I would have liked to see more pressures. I guess those trap games exist for everyone. Up to this point, we had lost to Buffalo and San Francisco. I feel like we've fallen into 2 trap games. And hopefully it doesn't set a dangerous precedent. Because our next 4 games coming up, this is where our schedule really starts to get pretty dicey. Check this out. We have the bye next week. So next week, no Rams talk. But we have the bye next week. And then we got Seattle. And then Tampa Bay. And then San Francisco. And then Arizona. New England. Jets. Seahawks. Cardinals. Our schedule's backloaded to be pretty goddamn tough. That's for fucking sure. We play 3 divisional games in the next 4 weeks. So the month of November is really going to show us, Rams Nation, what we're about this year. I'm hoping, I'm pulling, I'm praying that we're enough for a postseason run, man. The Lakers, the Dodgers, they all had the Mamba magic, and I'm hoping, we can get a little snakeskin love over on Rams Mountain. But that's your Rams talk for today. A few quick hitters. Anderson Silva took an absolute beating last night to Uriah Hall in a UFC main event. Anderson Silva now is expected to retire and walk into the horizon. His time in the sport, certainly in the UFC, appears to be done. It's a bummer. But well past due. The man's 46 years old. He hasn't looked great in a lot of his last fights. What more is there to say? Beyond thank you, Anderson. Thank you for entertaining us for all this time, man. Your sacrifices to the game will not be forgotten. Truly one of the greats. Another quick hitter. This was some sad news. I don't know. I can't remember if it was. I think it was last night is when I first found out. Dr. Jones, Dr. Henry Jones, the OG 007, Sir Sean Connery has passed away. I was never really big into the the James Bond films. Just never really my thing. But there were 2 films of Sean Connery's that I absolutely adore. The first of which is The Untouchables, around Elliot Ness and Al Capone. The film is about how they bring down Al Capone. Sean Connery plays an integral part in that movie. He plays a cop that's been entasseled with Al Capone for a long time. I believe this movie came out in 1987. It won Sean Connery the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Also stars Andy Garcia. What's his name? Kevin Costner. Directed by Brian De Palma. It's a real gangster film. Robert De Niro's, of course, also in it. And Sean Connery, not to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen it, it's only been out for over 30 years. 40 years near this point. But Sean Connery has one of the best death scenes in all time of this movie. There's a line from Red Dead Redemption, the second one, where the Pinkerton is talking to Arthur, and he tells him, "You have lived savagely, therefore you will die savagely." In the movie Untouchables, these words certainly ring true. Sean Connery in The Untouchables, he plays a beat cop in Chicago who's been kind of circling around Al Capone for years, and it's a fucking awesome movie. Real gangster, real old school, slow burn, around a 2-hour clip. I can't recommend it enough. It's a real fun movie. The second performance that I have to recommend from Sir Sean Connery is Dr. Henry Jones in Indiana Jones 3 and The Last Crusade. My favorite entry into the Indiana Jones franchise. And that is because of Sean Connery's performance as Indiana's father, Dr. Henry Jones. He's hilarious in this movie. He's absolutely hilarious. Action-y, smart, charming, funny. Perfect side character, and supporting character. And there's enough overlap between his performance and Harrison's, where I believe it's one of the most believable father-son duos in the history of cinema. Crazy year. Claimed another one, Sean Connery. If there's anything this year that we can hope will fall victim, it will be the Donald Trump presidency. At the end of the show here, we'd like to remind everyone, if you haven't already voted, to vote. Let your voice be heard. Not telling you who to vote for, because, quite frankly, that's no one's business. I don't subscribe into domineering or impressing people into expressions of thought or action. Vote for whoever you want, but the important thing is that you do vote. Here at the Hang 10 podcast of the Closers Podcast Network, we would just simply like to encourage you to vote if you haven't voted. It is your civil duty. It is what separates you from a civilian. It makes you a citizen for my Starship Trooper fans out there. But anyway, as always, you can follow me at Quintessential39 on Instagram. You can follow the podcast channel on Instagram at The Closers Podcast. And you can follow them on Facebook, or us at Facebook at Closers Podcast. And you can listen to us wherever you find your pods, whether it be Apple, Spotify, whatever. I'm a preferred YouTube listener, so YouTube, The Closers Podcast. Don't forget, on Wednesdays, you can listen to me and Marco's joint program, The Closers Podcast, where we interview people from around the states, predominantly, the globe, occasionally, and just to give a little extra input of their lives into our lives. And then on Friday, as always, Marco will give you his closing remarks, his final thoughts on the week, for the week, for you to listen to. So, as always, stay safe, stay smart, and God bless.